This is a video showcasing what my bonus incentive for Alpine Skyline would look like. Right now I'm playing on a practice file I have that starts out with Finale unlocked, and that's why you can still see that out there, but as you can see I have 25 timepieces. The important part about this file is that it shows that whenever I complete my race with Connor Ace, I can go back onto the exact same file that I completed that race with, and this is immediately available to me. So it doesn't take any extra time to set up other than the time that it'll take to play the level itself. So it is pretty convenient in that way. So I'm going to start the timer of added extra gameplay from the point that I would be walking to it from, which is the spawn point for Finale. So go. Yeah, this is definitely my favorite world in the game by a decent margin. Just because the way it is, like, it's a bunch of islands and mountains scattered throughout the sky with a bunch of cool terrains located behind them. It's like, it's so interesting in that way that there's a lot of platforming elements that you wouldn't find anywhere else. Like, going with really large things isn't like a thing you normally see. Most of the game in any percent is just like having good movement throughout like whatever room you may be in. But the first thing you're gonna see is this door. It's surrounded by invisible walls, except for the one spot that I just jumped in. Okay, I'm stuck. But this is a good example of what I mean by the platforming elements. Like, stuff like this, skipping these huge staircases with random props scattered on walls and stuff like that, it isn't something that you'd see in any other part playing this game. And that's why I think the speedrun of Alpine is so cool. Yeah, now I've unlocked this zip line. It's going to take me out of the intro world to the main world. So this little zipline cutscene, the important part about it is that it has two parts. Right now, in this dark part, I'm still set, my spawn is still set to that intro world that I spawned into, but as soon as the sky becomes bright, like that, you can see there's a long zipline in front of me. It's a cutscene where I slowly ride all the way up to the top of there, and it gives you like a minute to look like in awe of the huge cool world that you've just arrived in, which unfortunately we have to skip because it's so long. So, exiting the hub as soon as it loads me into there, now my spawn is set all the way at the top of it. So, now I can begin. So, all of the worlds, like I said, are located on islands scattered away from me. You can kind of see that lava one back there. But I need to unlock zip lines to get to them. And so this is the first horn that'll be showcasing this. This horn is very important because it unlocks the zip lines like that blue one and this red one. You have to have that to enter any of the four main acts. So there's some smaller horns later on that we'll still need to blow, but that's the main one. I have to do that immediately. And then Lava Cake is the closest to it, so I go ahead and go to Lava Cake. So a lot of these worlds will be talking about split into entrances and actual worlds. And what I mean by that is, like, right now, I'm on these little islands, and I'm doing movement to, like, get up from where I am now to that huge big thing up there. So right now, until I get in that thing, which is the main level itself, I'm in the, quote, entrance. And the entrances display a lot of really cool platforming elements. Just because, like, in every other world in the game, you're not usually dealing with huge terrains like this. It's just so unique and I love it. So this is the last hookshot. I'm now entering the level itself. And the thing that separates the entrances and the levels themselves, I'm going to pause to explain it real quick, is whenever I get at that red tree over there, if I'm still in my hookshot, it'll like play a cutscene like introducing me to that level, and that's how you know you're the real thing. But the only way I can get off of these hookshots that take me to the actual story levels is by undoing my hookshot badge. So right before I get to the cutscene trigger, I'm going to take it off like that. And fortunately it gives me my jumps back so I can make it up here. And so that gets rid of the cutscenes that play each time you enter a level. And it doesn't take long to do, so it's worth going for. This is the cool part of this level, the level itself. So you can see the center is hollow, but if I ride the edge of that lava, it'll continue to bounce me up even while I'm in iframes. And I grab these health pawns, and I'm back to full. Got an SCJ over here. because I can climb this fence to do it again. Like I said, ride the edge, and it'll continue to bounce you without even taking much damage. And this is the last one. You just gotta stay near the wall of the thing. And then I just wait for the platforms to fall below me, and then I can go to the timepiece. So that's lava cake. And a cool thing about this is that since all of the timepieces for this are located in one world, rather than going back to the spaceship and watching more loading screens, I immediately spawn here, which is really nice for an RTA run, such as a marathon run. So now I'm immediately going to the next one, which is Birdhouse. The entrance of Birdhouse is decently long, and that's because there's an extra horn that we have to blow. As you'll be able to see in a second, the Birdhouse is over to my left, and there's no zip line leading to it right now. That's because the horn that opens it up is at this island over here. So when I get to it, because I want to be back where I just was to ride that zip line to the Birdhouse once I unlock it, I'm going to be taking off my hookshot again for a different reason. Not to skip a cutscene here. There is no cutscene here. But there is a checkpoint here. Whoops. There we go. So yeah, now if I were to fall off of this island, it would put me all the way back there. Which is good, because that's where I want to be. Like, the checkpoint just popped up there a second ago, but like, it doesn't have anything to like add it onto, basically. So even though it showed I had a checkpoint there, it would have checkpointed me there if I had actually technically been on that island, but it still thought it was back here, so it didn't do anything. And that's why I did it, because now I'm immediately back in this hookshot again. Now there's one last cool platforming part. This is another long sequence that I can skip through due to wall climbing in between some rocks. So I'm gonna get up here. Whoops. Bonked my head. Get out of the way. Alright. So yeah, these two rocks are close together. And that's cool because that allows me to do this. And I'm already way near the top of the level. Okay, well, I bonked. But I checkpointed up here, fortunately. Once you make it up here, you're good to fall down. Getting past those rocks is just the main part about it. And yeah, now I'm past all of that. A lot of content that you get to skip past. But now we're on the zipline to the Birdhouse, so we're gonna skip another cutscene. You have to make sure to take it off slightly before you get to it. The cutscene has a kind of big trigger, so you don't want to be too late on it. And now, this is also a long level, just like all the levels in Alpine, but even though you can see all this behind me, I'm already here. That's because I can pull off a trick that'll be explained in my any % race called a momentum SDJ, so it should be understood by the time I get here. But doing one on this fence can get me across here without having to unlock any of the hook shots that take you here. And that makes that level super fast. That is a cool skip. That skip and the windmill skip are like, for people that are watching this as people that played the game casually, and I'm sure a lot of people have played this game casually, it's pretty popular, are not going to expect stuff like that. Like, I know when I saw the windmill skip that I'm about to show you for the first time, I was mind blown, even though I'd already had experience in speedrunning the game, so it'll be pretty entertaining for a lot of people, I'm sure it was for me. Yeah, I can't quite get to the windmill yet because this also has more horns in the entrance. So I get to do more fun mountain platforming. And this little statue sticking out of the wall like the one in the intro is useful again. And that makes that whole sequence pretty fast. This just world in general is decorated so much with props and stuff that you can get past pretty much anything. As if you've noticed, there's not many sequences where we've actually taken the full intended route, because casually this world is really long. And I can take down these 4 worlds to around 12 minutes, or 14 minutes RTA, which is crazy. So now I can skip getting on that little windmill just by landing on top of that pole. A neat little sequence break. And now I have to go down here to this cat island because I need one more horn to blow before I can unlock the windmill. So once again, I need to take off my hook shot to make sure that I don't get checkpointed there. And now there's these invisible cats that I would like to avoid, but you never know. They're hard to dodge. Okay, I did dodge them that time. You can't actually even tell what I'm talking about if I successfully avoided them, but trust me, there's some pretty annoying enemies there that were chasing me. They're just invisible. You may be able to barely see them. If one of them hits you, they can take your hat, which is annoying because that means you can't progress until you take care of them. And they take a while to fight. So now, I'm going to Windmill. This level, I'd like to say, is probably the longest level in the whole game played casually. If you can see how tall it is, all of those are consisted of multiple floors. Tons of floors worth of like platforming puzzles and stuff like that to keep going up. And all we need to do is go a few floors up without avoiding like death spots. It doesn't like you being floors other than the ones you're checkpointed in, so we have to go in some specific areas. Once we have that out of the way, fortunately, there's this little opening in the side of the building where we can view the windmill. And we're gonna do something pretty cool with it. So as you can see, now I'm out here. The windmill's flying right in front of me. And this thing is good because now I can just grab onto it and it'll carry me up. And that's that entire level gone. Just riding up the windmill, seeing that for the first time is so cool because you would never expect that it would actually work, but it does. So that's one of the more entertaining parts of this world. I really enjoyed that when I saw it for the first time. And now we're in Twilight Bell, which is personally my favorite world of Alpine. This world is by far the most abusable of all these worlds. This world is broken. There's so many death checkpoints. You'll see one at the very beginning right now. There's one right there. Just jump into it. Now I'm up here for some reason. And this dweller pole right here that you would normally need to hit the bell to turn on. You don't have to do this, but I would like to show it off because it's cool. The supports of these platforms are still solid for some reason, unlike the rest of them. I don't know why it's like that, but I like showing it off, so I'll probably end up doing that. Like I said, you don't have to, you can just hit the bell, but it's cool that that has that property, so I'd like to show it. Now we're entering the fourth and final level of this showcase. We're gonna do one last checkpoint skip. And now we're basically done with the hookshot switching. Starting off immediately, I'm going to time myself off of this hookshot, wait until I see the wall change, or right about then. And then, basically what that did is that it made me so that I voided out and respawned after it loaded this world in, which made me fall down over by that platform and get checkpointed by it instead of at the beginning, which is back there. So that skipped a decent bit of time. And now, even though I don't have the dweller hat to climb up those blocks, I can wall jump onto this red guy if I can get it. Jeez. But yeah. A lot of this hat is meant to be done with the dweller hat, and because of all of the broken mechanics with it, you can do it entirely without it, which I'm going to do. So, this level is another mind-blowing thing if you've played through it casually and then just see this be done. Because there are like multiple keys, you have to blow horns, so much stuff you have to go through. It takes so long, but you can just find all of the checkpoints and void out into them from earlier places and skip past so much. And we're gonna do it again, and we'll already be at the very end of the level. You're supposed to ride up to where I'm climbing onto now by blowing a horn that unlocks a hookshot like the other hookshots of zip lines, I mean, activated. It's like this one right here, you can see it gives me a trigger for it, but it doesn't even exist. It doesn't think I'm supposed to be here because we've broken the level that badly. So now this is the last part. We need to break this so that we can get the timepiece, which is inside there. We don't have the dweller hat, so there is this setup. The brewer hat, you can just stand right here, jump, wait for the sound of the bell, and now you're up there. And that is it. That is Alpine. Rather, the 4 main acts. And that was done in under 15 minutes. Keep in mind all the extra time I took to pause and explain stuff. That's because, like, I would like to be able to do it faster, but this is so action-packed. The levels in this are truly a mouthful, so I tried to do it as best as possible. I hope you like this, because I would absolutely love to run this world, and I think a bunch of people would love to see it.